Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3. I got this idea a long time ago and I got it again, so I thought it was about time I release it. I've been working on your ideas in the back, guys. Yeah, don't think I forgot about any of them. And I thought it was about time I released this one, so welcome back to my channel. And yeah, today I'm going to be giving you what if Naruto was a genius experimenter. Part 1, guys. If you enjoy seeing 1 see part 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all for your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. And also go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King of What If Naruto. What If Godlike Naruto Awakened by Kushina, guys. So go ahead and enjoy that. And remember, for new, yes, I did have 3 channels on Making and Making 2 and Making 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead, click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all for your helping support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we jump right into this new episode? Start the intro, guys. The Elemental Nation. The first thing that came to mind when it came towards shinobi nations, especially when people like samurais talk about the Elemental Nation, the great villages, the first thing that came to mind was war. Yes, that was the biggest thing that came to mind. Throughout history there has been several powerful people that try to stop war, to stop violence, to stop chaos, but the darkness can never be fully relinquished, can it? The Sage of Six Paths, his younger son Ashura, Hoshirama Senju, 4th Hokage Minato, the 3rd Hokage, everyone tried to, in their time, stop the endless cycle of violence and chaos, but truly can never be stopped. In the olden days, they used to send out kids to the battlefield. Kids were sent on the battlefield for war. But as the time started to cool down, many other nations realized that sending out kids at an early age was not really a good thing. Thus, most of the nations decided to allow their kids to graduate at the age of 15 rather than sending them out at the age of 7, 8, or 9 years old, so they could get a better understanding of what it meant to be a ninja, what it meant to be a ninja of their village, and learn how to protect themselves. Konoha was no different. Konoha, the most powerful nation, they always spew out ninjas with popular names. Kakashi of the Sharingan, the Yellow Flash, the God of Shinobi the Professor, and so much more. Konoha was just that powerful. It has never lost a war, always managed to come out on top despite other nations teamed up against them. However, because of one single child, everything will change. This one child would change the precedent of the entire system. He will change how people saw shinobis, because he vowed to himself on a very dark path in his life that he will never allow himself to be looked down upon again, ever to be that weak and defenseless. It was currently night within Konoha. Even the Hokage had retired to his quarters to get some sleep. The only people that were around was the Anvus roaming about, protecting the village. While deep within the forest of death, lies a lab. Said lab was never discovered by Harrison or his Anvus. Lab once belonging to Orochimaru the Sannin. Orochimaru, a cruel, twisted, wicked man that was known to perform inhuman experiments on kids. Anyone that he might come across, just to further his own ambitions, his own goals. But his work, he had left it behind when he had fled Konoha. He had left so much. He originally thought that he had found all of the labs within Konoha, but he was dead wrong. There was so much more. At the very moment though, there was someone. He had blonde hair with a few streaks of white in it. His back was turned as he was currently looking down at the table. In front of him, there was a man. The man's eyes were covered by a sealed paper. His body lay motionless. The youngster in front of him was doing something to the man's body. With a single jolt, the man's body shook violently before it calmed back down. The youngster frowned at that as he moved away from the body, showing that it was open. You could literally see blue trails of chakra coursing through the veins. How that was possible? Well, it shouldn't be possible, but this child was not really normal, if one might say. The child went over towards a book. He took off the gloves and threw them in the bin. Fresh, clean hands that were a bit pale. He opened said book and started to go down into his notes. He pulled a pen from behind his ear and jotted down a few notes. Once that was done, he set it to the side as he came across a mirror, and his face was seen. His face was unusual. For one thing, he had 3 whisker marks on each cheek, but his eyes were so unique. The white of his eyes had gotten a bit pale, if one might say, a bit grey. But the pupil had a beautiful dark blue to it. But it was inside. There was a slit. It almost looked animalistic. The slit had a greenish and brownish tint to it. His eye color, his eyes itself has changed because of the numerous experiments that he had done on himself. This child, standing roughly at 6 feet, was Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto Uzumaki was a unique child. For one thing, he contained the Kyuubi, a beast that was known to cause unending chaos, destruction. It was said to be a force of nature itself. As the child walked, he passed by several beakers. Inside the beakers were strange, humanoid creatures that were in a green liquid. They seemed to be in a death-like state, seeing that they were not moving. Wires were attached to their body. As the child continued to walk until he stopped right in front of a desk. He then went to his knees as he opened the cupboard. There were several scrolls inside. He pulled one scroll as he made his way towards the body. Unrolling the scroll, he went through hand sign before he slammed his hand down. A matrix spread out on the body. Before it was poof, sealed away in a scroll. He wrapped it up and placed it back under the cupboard before he turned his back and started to leave his lab. Naruto Uzumaki left discreetly, leaving one of the most dreadful and dangerous places within Konoha. Worse than the IT department, worse than the cells in Konoha. Down there where unspeakable things were done by himself. The child calmly made his way back to his apartment. It didn't take him too long, as he blended into the shadows. He could feel the Anvus watching his apartment. As he glanced to see the cat mask Anvu, she was just there watching him, as he was sleeping on his bed. Well, not him per se. Slowly going through hand sign, the cat mask Anvu found herself hearing buzzing. She whacked at her hair, thinking that it was a simple bees or bug. But it just got louder and louder as she turned around. It was at that moment that he disappeared, switching with said clone that was in the bed. The clone reappeared a distance away before it dispelled. As Naruto went down in bed, when she turned back, it was that nothing was different. So she didn't pay anything in mind, wondering what the hell that sound was. As the child slept, for the most of the nights she watched, he did not do anything or move. The Hokage gave her specific orders to watch him. Naruto Uzumaki was a concern to the Hokage, as Hiruzen saw it, something that frightened him some time ago, and she was here to watch him. He slept as nothing happened. The next morning, Naruto got up. He could sense none of them. As he made his way towards the bathroom, these people thought they could understand him, that they could find out what he was doing. The Hokage thought that he had a grip on everything that was happening within the village, but he had no clue what was going on. Naruto Uzumaki was not a normal person. That could be seen from where he experiments on a weekly basis. This child was not a normal child from he grew up. In the orphanage, he was always told that he was weird. Maybe it was because he didn't play like the other kids. He didn't know why, but he never got the sense of just jumping around. What was the point? He found most things rather unjoyful and downright hateful. He didn't know why. He enjoyed the simpler things in life. He enjoyed the peace and quiet. He enjoyed being by himself. Not too much loud, shouting people. That was the best. For that he was picked on. For that he was scorned. But it became worse when he was 4 years old and received his first beating. The Hokage had told him that what they did not understand they hate. But what was that supposed to mean? It wasn't until he was 6 years old that he finally got what they were saying. They called him demon, a monster, that he killed their children, that he should go back and they were going to finish what the 4th Hokage started. So he did some research and found out the 4th Hokage was set to sacrifice his life to kill the Kyuubi. But that was a lie. Because if the Kyuubi was dead, why were they hassling him? It didn't take him too long, being as curious as he was, to study the human body, to start to go into the details about sealing, to understand what did they mean by he was a monster. He tried to see if he was truly a monster underneath, but he found out something much more interesting. There was a seal on his stomach whenever he flared his chakra. Unlike most kids in the academy, he learned this when he was 5 years old. He loved to read after all, and he learned about chakra and the human body at an early age. He had to sneak into the library because in the morning she wouldn't let him in, that woman, the librarian, always cursing at him, always causing a commotion, so he stole the books at night. And he found out a lot. Something known as Jinjurikis, human sacrifices. So for the most of his life he was used as a pawn. He found that rather hilarious, because he was holding back the very beasts that if he released right now would have wiped away the village, and yet they scorn and attack and beat him. He felt so helpless when he was younger, but he swore to himself that it would never happen again. But it did. This time he found himself running into a forest, and they stopped chasing him. He heard some of them saying that he was already dead in there. And they were right. Man-eating animals tried to rip him apart. He was so afraid. But he ended up going down a lab. By accident. The place that became his second home. But it did not come without pain. They were booby traps. He was pierced by arrows. Luckily, it did not hit his heart. He thought he was gonna die. That is where he suffered for hours. Removing an arrow from his stomach. Removing the arrow from his arms. The pain was unbearable. But throughout his experiments, he had built up a high tolerance for pain. More things happened, but, well, let's just say if it wasn't for the Kyuubi, he wouldn't exactly look human or normal right now. He probably looked like a mutated monster, given all the booby traps that he set off by accident. But he survived them all though. And he was tricky next time not to set them off that easily, when he was finished with them. And that is where he found the notes. At first he had threw up so quickly. Seeing all the body parts, seeing all the pieces, it was so disgusting. But as time went by, he felt drawn to that place. So he kept on going back and going back and going back. And he found himself getting submerged in the notes, written by a brilliant man. He was shocked to find out that he was Orochimaru Sanin. And the location of the other labs, it seemed that this was the main one. Several placed over Konoha. Those labs are also booby trap, so yeah, that was painful. But he climbed out alive. With the help of notes from Orochimaru, he was able to perform a shadow clone jutsu, a lot better than the normal clone jutsu, because It was solid. It could carry things and help him. And not to mention because of his vast chakra reserves. Because of the fox extending his chakra reserve from he was a baby, he had so much chakra. So with 50 clones he was able to move much of things that he wanted in dark of night to where he wanted them. At first he was a novice to all of this. That ended up with him losing his right arm. Naruto glanced in the mirror as he looked towards his arm that was now fully recovered. But it wasn't exactly normal. His nails grew within a second. They were thick and long, and also metallic. He had to do some experiments. If he was going to get his arm back, why not make it just that much better? His nails returned back to normal as he tested his arm out and ruled his wrists. As he looked into the mirror, because of the experiments his eyes changed. His hair also changed as well. Few white strands were now in his hair. At first he never thought of doing what Orochimaru notes did, experimenting on people. He started out small, animals, until he craved. He literally craved the excitement of taking someone and picking them apart to see how they work. It was just so riveting. It was amazing. And he did it. In the dead of the night, he took someone. He thought he had killed them because he had hit them so hard over the head. They started to bleed. He started to panic. He started to second guess himself. But his mind had snapped in focus and he got them back. With the help of his clones, watching his back. He got them back safely to his lab. Without being discovered. That was a miracle in on itself. Given how immature he was at the time. And so he got to work. And the feeling that he got from experimenting on his first human subject was thus remarkable. It was undescribable. A feeling that he never imagined he could ever receive. The human life was so fickle and weak. It made him thought about the days that he got beaten to death. Almost beaten to death, that was. And no one could stop him. The pain that he felt. The pain that he felt by going into these places and getting stabbed by arrows. Almost poisoned. Losing his right arm because of his experiments. But then he realized he didn't want to feel those pain anymore. He wanted to become a being that surpassed every intention of pain. He wanted to turn his body. He saw Orochimaru trying to do it. Turn himself perfect. He was unaware if Orochimaru ever achieved that self of perfectness. How amazing would that be? To become a being that was just so immaculate, so perfect, there was nothing out of your grasp. No jutsus. No bloodlines. No titles. A god. That was a thought that popped into his head. To be a god. God feels no pain. So that is what he will do. Turn himself into the perfect being. A god amongst men. And thus it started. The more time passed, the more his feeling for the human life became so non-existent that he barely felt anything while slitting someone's throat, while cutting them open. Yes, he never implied that he was a good person. But why did this happen to him? Did the world turn him like this? Or was he always this sick and corrupted? He was still in the academy, as the academy graduation was age 15, which he will be graduating very soon. But he did not care. To the rest of the world he was just a naive fool. Except for Hiruzen. They didn't call the man the professor for nothing. The man looked at his eyes once. He mumbled something but Naruto heard him clearly. Orochimaru. Did he really give off that same feeling? Naruto wondered to himself. Most people didn't think that. Well, most people left him alone. He didn't really have friends. What was the point? When you seek something beyond that, a god needs no one at their side. A god's only need is to use people to get what they want. To have lackeys to use them. To make them get what you want until you reach perfectionists. That is why, for the past couple of years, he has done some despicable things. Rumors have circulated about missing Hyugas and other clan members as well in Yuzaka's Abermes. So bad that Konoha was placed in a, curfew. As the village was locked down before, it could reach the dead of night. Envoys were out prowling the streets. A main member of the Hokage house got taken. A man known as Soshi Hyuga. A Inuzaka got taken as well. An Aburame. A Nara. A member from each of the major clans. And there was also a rather powerful girl. Her name was Yakumo Kurama. The Kurama clan said to have genjutsu that could rival the Uchihas. Even outwit them at some points. Their genjutsus were said to turn imagination into reality. She was also taken from her home. Her guards were killed. And there was nothing left behind. The more this went on, the more Hiruzen started to think of himself as a failure as a Hokage. As he could not stop it, people were starting to panic. Some civilians freed to come out at night. But then it just stopped after a while. The chaos just slowed down. The culprit was never caught. Hiruzen Sarutobi never suspected that Naruto was linked with any of this. Instead, he was trying to keep Naruto safe from whoever were doing this, knowing what Naruto contained. Perhaps the person knew as well. But the thing was, Hiruzen was always wary of Naruto. Look in his eyes. The child was smart, Hiruzen knew that, but yet he never showed it. He was not the top of his class. He did not show much progress in anything. But yet Hiruzen saw that intellect once before. But he just never used it. Always by himself. Hiruzen didn't know what to think of him. At the moment, though, after a long shower, Naruto got dressed. A black t-shirt with black pants. It wasn't anything outstanding or anything too formal. As he was wearing open-toe sandals, as he made his way to the academy. Arriving there, he went toward his seat and sat down. Today was a big test, but he had no intention of passing. He didn't want to be in a genuine team just yet. He still had more things to do. He would just fail and take the test next year. There was so much more, he was just not ready yet. He watched as numerous kids got their name called. There were several people in his class that piqued his interest. Shikamaru Nara. He had spoken to him a few times before, but he wouldn't say that they were close friends. Kiba Inuzaka called himself the alpha of the class, even though he was not that strong. He was always a domineering one. Maybe it's because of his Inuzaka abilities, and the traits as well. Hinata Hyuga. What interested him the most was her eyes. So beautiful, so exquisite. The Byakugan was surely a powerful weapon. His eyes then roamed towards Sasuke Uchiha, the boy that had the bloodline of the Uchiha running through his veins. But he doesn't have the Sharingans. Well, judging that he's been in the academy most of his life, there was no real reason for him to experience the thrill of having those eyes just yet. But he hoped it will happen soon. He had big plans for him, big plans for a lot of them, as he smirked to himself. Naruto Uzumaki. His name was cause he got up. Right here, he said. Follow me. As Naruto made his way, he could tell the teachers never really liked him. He heard the rumors that Aruka parents got killed by the Kyuubi. So he figured, well, seeing that he had the Kyuubi, he was partially to blame, in Aruka's mind at least. Alright, Aruka said, looking towards Naruto. Aruka didn't particularly hate him, but the thing was, whenever he saw Naruto, it just reminded him of his parents. Him and Naruto never had a close bond or relationship for him to see him as one of his close students. So the thought of his parents always popped into his head. But blaming the child for that was wrong, is it not? Aruka just hoped that he would graduate this time, as he didn't want to hate him, but at the same time he didn't want him in his class as well. It was a constant reminder, even though it was a long time ago. As the 15-year-old boy stood there, Mizuki over to his side was watching him carefully. To pass the test, you have to perform the clone jutsu and the transformation jutsu. Naruto brought his arms up and first he transformed into a perfect copy of Aruka. Well done. Now the clone jutsu. As he scratched the back of his head nervously. Give it your best try, Aruka said, knowing that Naruto never really specialized in that jutsu very much. So with that, Naruto brought his hands together. Poof! A white, destroyed clone came on the ground. Naruto looked rather embarrassed. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I can't pass you. Naruto lowered his head, looking distraught. Iruka felt bad, as he walked away sadly. Iruka came back and congratulated those that passed. As Naruto made his way home, all the sadness vanished away from his face, as the kids' parents came to celebrate with them. As he was on his way home, he had looked distraught once again as someone appeared beside him. He glanced up. Mizuki-sensei, he said. Naruto, I've been looking for you. What's up, said Naruto. You're sad, aren't you, said Mizuki. Well, considering I just failed the exam, which I really wanted to pass, of course I am, said Naruto. Mizuki placed a hand on his head, with a smile on his face. What if I told you I had a way for you to pass the exam? You do? Said Naruto, eyes widening in shock. Yeah, it's quite simple. As Mizuki went on to explain about the other tests, Naruto found this curious. This man was trying to have him steal a rather powerful scroll from Konoha, and later on betray him, because that was the only thing that he would do. This man owed him nothing, and he owed this man nothing, but yet, here he was trying to let him pass the exam by having him steal this forbidden scroll. As Naruto got curious, the things that he could find in a forbidden scroll within the village. Alright, I'll do it, he said. He's never been into that section of the Hokage's tower before, but it should be rather enlightening. As Mizuki gave him the location where to meet up, as Naruto made his way off, the scroll was rather easy to get. Konoha's security was really lacking. Naruto took it and made his way towards the location that Mizuki informed him about. It was remote, empty. Once he opened the scroll, Naruto's eyes almost exploded out of his skull. His mouth started literally water at the prospects of what he saw. He couldn't believe it. Jutsus after jutsus. As he couldn't believe what he was seeing at the moment. It was just so amazing. Things that would help him achieve what he wanted. Without wasting time, he created 100 clones. As he brought out a seal from his pocket, unrolling it, several massive scrolls came out. As he removed the items from several of them and sealed into another one before, he started to jot down the information and seal everything away inside of these scrolls, labeling them differently. With the amount of scrolls, he quickly started to write everything down. Meanwhile that was going on, Mizuki had informed everyone about what is going on, Iruka that being, and several others. Harrison was assaulted by all the Jonins that wanted to go and find Naruto immediately. Many of them saying that he shouldn't get away with this, that he should be severely punished. This information could not be leaked outside the village. Harrison sent them off to find Naruto and bring him back to him, alive. He said that threatening tone as they all made their way. Mizuki smirked. This was his perfect chance. If he were to kill Naruto now, well, nothing will happen. Nothing will come out of it. So with that, he made his way. As they started to search, Iruka was having no luck as he made his way around, as he had no idea what Naruto was thinking. Why would he go after something so important? Does he know what he's doing? Mizuki, on the other hand, knew exactly where Naruto was, so it didn't take him too long. As Naruto was calmly sitting down in front of the scroll, when Mizuki arrived on the tree branch. Ah, Naruto, there you are, he said. Did you do what I asked, he said to Naruto. As Naruto got to his feet rather silent. Naruto, I'm talking to you, he said. Do you think you can use me as your scapegoat, Naruto asked. A scapegoat, said Mizuki. Yes. Planning to use me and throw me under the bus. Quite wicked, isn't it? Mizuki scoffed. Well, I guess there's no time to waste arguing with you. It seems like you figured it out. Well, that doesn't mean nothing. You aren't that special, Mizuki said. Now how about you hand me the scroll before I have to do something that I will not regret, he said. That you will not regret. As Naruto started to chuckle, Mizuki smirked at that. Hand me the scroll now, he said. Why don't you come and take it, said Naruto. Mizuki looked down towards Naruto with a look on his face of absolute glee. I never thought you would have said something like that, but I'm so glad. You resisting to take the scroll. I guess I have no choice but to put you down before I go. You're gonna kill me, said Naruto. Well, maybe I can fill you in on something first. And what is that, said Naruto. Well, before your final breaths, you should know why everyone seems to just dislike and hate you. Oh? And why is that, said Naruto. Because the nine-tailed demon fox was sealed inside of you. You are that monster, an abomination that destroyed half of the village. You are that beast, Mizuki said, as he chuckled, waiting for the response. But Naruto merely smirked, confusing Mizuki. Huh, you're too shocked to even form a proper reaction. Well, it doesn't matter, he pulled the Fuma shuriken off his back. It's time for you to die! As he hurled it towards Naruto. Naruto's nails started to extend on his right hand. He was about to reach out until he heard something behind him. Damn it. He shifted himself slightly. The shuriken hit him right in the stomach. As he was thrown back, Naruto cried out Aruka as Naruto hit into the small tree behind him. Aruka rushed over as Naruto was still clutching his scroll tightly. Mizuki, what have you done? He said. He lied, said Naruto. He forced me to take the scroll, and now he's trying to kill me. Hearing that, Aruka turned as he had to deflect several kunais. But he didn't deflect them all as two stabbed him in the shoulder. He fell back. Mizuki, why are you doing this? He asked. You defend that demon even after I killed your parents, Aruka. I must say I'm ashamed. Well, it doesn't matter. I know you. You're a stickler for the rules, all for the code and all that. And I'm afraid I don't have much time to waste. That is why I'll simply kill you where you stand. It was then that Mizuki heard footsteps and rustling in the bushes. He pulled off the other Fuma shuriken and tossed it directly towards Naruto and Aruka. Aruka pushed Naruto out of the way and moved just in time as he was thrown back. Naruto released the scroll as Mizuki grabbed it and rushed off, moving as fast as possible. That is when two envoys dropped in the area. Where did he go? Aruka pointed as one of them moved off as the other one came to Naruto's aid. Naruto, you're gonna be just alright, Aruka said. Stay with me. Naruto. As Naruto couldn't answer, his eyes were closing. Naruto, Aruka cried out. Meanwhile, Mizuki was moving as fast as possible as he clutched onto his scroll tightly. He was racing to get out of the village. Moving through the forest, he was able to get past the perimeter. He just had to get this back to Lord Orochimaru, and the man would give him what he wants, the power he deserved. As he moved as fast as possible, he already had a head start. Damn it, he cursed as he could sense them moving behind him. They were so fast. He looked over as he saw. He leaped down into a small passageway under the shrubs as he lowered his chakra to almost nothing. As he gripped onto his scroll tightly, the envoys flashed past, making their way. As Mizuki lay there, slower in his breathing, he knew that he couldn't have time to stay here because they would come back and swamp the entire area that was just the first man pursuit team to try and find him before the others arrived. So he went the opposite way, turning toward the side, not going back to the side. It would take a longer way to get there, but they wouldn't expect this, would they? As he made his way, he came to a stop when he heard a growl. Mizuki was confused. What the hell was that? He turned. As he looked around, he pulled a kunai. Show yourself, he said, as he placed the scroll at his feet. That is when he saw the bushes moving in front of him. Mizuki stepped back with utter shock and fear when he saw some sort of beast standing there. Mizuki stepped back, confused if he was seeing things or not, if this was some sort of illusion. The thing was on all fours. It had a single tail waving behind it. The skin was pale, crack markings all over it. In the cracks there were red lines, like almost molten lava. The beast had 5 rows of teeth that looked like they could shred even steel. It had 2 red eyes with slits in them. Mizuki was confused. The thing nails dug into the ground. As its eyes focused on him, it opened its mouth. Strange, vicious saliva started to drop out. That said saliva started to burn the ground. Mizuki backed away in absolute fear. His kunai and his entire body shaking as he tried to back away. It was then that he heard something behind him as he turned. Another one. The thing then pounced on him, he stabbed it. But, to his horror and his shock, when he stabbed in between the crack, the kunai tip melted. It was then that the thing bit his side completely out. Not just bit him, it tore his side completely out. Mizuki looked down at his entire missing side as his body fell. But he never got the chance to do anything else as his head was devoured. The other beast then ripped his legs apart. They literally bite on his bones, crushing them with their sharp teeth before they swallow him whole. They moved towards the scroll and started to sniff it. They were about the size of a large Inusaka hound, maybe a bit bigger, but their ferocious skin, their eyes, their entire body was something else. They moved over toward the scroll. It was then that their eyes started glistening as someone seemed to take control of them. One of them then bit into the scroll. As he lifted up with his mouth, the two of them, including the scroll, poofed away. A few seconds later, as the envoy landed, as he looked around, seeing blood, he reached out and touched it. It was still fresh. But where did it come from? There was no body around. He looked at the scuff mark on the ground. Seems like someone was fighting fire jutsus as well. As he looked at the melted metal, he wondered what the hell happened here. Meanwhile, the two atrocious beasts returned, back in the summoning circle. They looked ahead as Naruto stood there, well, not the real Naruto, a clone of him. The first one came over the scroll as he handed it to his master, as Naruto took it. He then pointed. They then made their way. On the wall there was a door, but it was covered in seals, hundreds of Fuinjutsu seals. The two things just walked right through it, like it was some sort of opening, but it was supposed to be solid, but yet they just walked right through it, entering. The clone then went through Hansan before he slammed his hand down. The wall stopped glowing as the seals deactivated. As he touched it, the wall was now solid. He smirked to himself. Objective complete, he said to the other clone. That came in and poofed away. The real Naruto with the Fuma shuriken stuck inside of him. His pinky finger twitched as he got the information. As he lay in the hospital bed, his vitals were low. To them, he was unconscious. As they worked on healing him, removing the massive shuriken, he was healing, but not that fast. Well, he allowed himself to heal at a regular pace, to not freak them out how quickly he healed. They couldn't know. They shouldn't know. So he pretended right there and then, placing his body into a state of hibernation, like animals, mostly bears in the forest woods. To them, he was unconscious, but he was not. He didn't want things to go like this, but he was thinking 10 steps ahead, just in case. The next morning, Hiruzen Sarutobi was at Naruto's bed. As he watched the blonde sleep, he didn't know why his hair was changing color. As he wondered if Naruto was stressed, why his hair was changed to white. It was all of a sudden Naruto's eyes fluttered open, as Hiruzen saw his eyes. He wondered if it was a side effect of the Kyuubi, changing him as it grew, because the older he got, the weaker the seal became, for Naruto to control the Kyuubi's power. So that must be the reason why his eyes were like that now. "You're awake," Hiruzen said. "What happened?" said Naruto, as he glanced around. "Do you remember anything?" Hiruzen asked. "Last thing I remember was Mizuki, Haruka, and then pure pain." "Is Haruka alright?" Naruto asked. "Yes, he's fine," Hiruzen said. "How are you feeling though?" he said. "The doctor said that you should be fine." "But are you okay?" he asked. "Yeah. Well, my stomach hurts a lot." "You did got hit with the Fuma shuriken, so just be grateful that you're okay." Well, I guess you're right, said Naruto. He then looked down. A sad look on his face. What's wrong? Mizuki-sensei, he told me something. He told me that I am the Kyuubi. Hiruzen was shocked. Haruka never told him this, perhaps. He wasn't there when they talked about that. Hiruzen sighed as he never wanted to tell Naruto about this just yet. But he figured that it was about time. Look, Naruto, I want you to listen to me carefully, okay? As Naruto nodded. You are not the Kyuubi, but you do have its seal inside of you. It's inside of me, said Naruto. Yes. Think about it as a sealing scroll. With you being the scroll and the Kyuubi being the kunai, it doesn't affect your thoughts or anything. It's not you. In fact, you're the one that is keeping this village safe by holding the fox at bay. I am, said Naruto. Hiruzen smiled as he placed a hand on his shoulder. Yes, you are, my boy, he said. So, is that the reason why they always glared and yelled at me? And even attacked me? For that I am sorry, but yes, Hiruzen said. As Naruto looked down. I guess in a way I understand, he said. You do? Well, if I had lost my entire family and people I love to a beast, and I know that that beast was in a child, I would feel angry as well. I guess some of their hatred was just blamed on me. Is that the case? Exactly, said Hiruzen. But I don't want you to take it as that. I want you to prove to them that you are Naruto Uzumaki. You start your career as a ninja very soon. Wait, but I failed, said Naruto. Well, after hearing about what happened, I thought that you might need another shot. Given the amount of chakra you have, it's a reason why you can't create a standard clone. So I thought that it might be best if I just allow you to go through this time and see what your sensei think of you. If you manage to get past him, you'll become a ninja. But if you fail by him, you will not. That's the best I can do. That's great, said Naruto with a smile. Hiruzen smiled as he was glad that Naruto was taking this well. Glad that there was no damaging side effect. Alright, why don't you get some rest, he said. Yeah, said Naruto as he lied back down. Hiruzen left the office. The moment he was gone, Naruto frowned. He didn't want to become a genin this year. But this damn man had to do something about it. Feeling sorry. Well, he should. He should feel sorry for all the crap he went through. But Naruto did not care. He looked down toward his stomach that was all bandaged up. He was the one that was holding back his healing abilities, so it wouldn't look too astonishing to them. But he was already fine. He could get out of here anytime. What would that stupid kunai do to him? Shuriken, if you want to say. After all the experiments and things that he'd done to his body, putting his body through hell, that could not hurt him one bit. But maybe this was an opportunity to experience the world outside. He chuckled to himself. Huh. It's not like this will be the first time, or the 50th time that he's been outside the village. Konoha's security was really lacking, and besides, a genius like himself cannot be kept away like this. Cannot be captivated to one village. A genius like himself need to explore. Although, the only place that he's ever been before is in the Fire Nation, but there was a lot of people out there that was far less defensive than a ninja village. And besides, where would he go to get new equipments? As he just lay there, thinking about his next steps. It didn't take too long before he was released. Saying that he was fine for him to go home, but he should not over-exaggerate himself. Once he was out of the hospital though, he made his way. He switched with a clone immediately. Hiruzen had always keep an eye on him just in case. But seeing that the kidnappings were coming winding down, he had to split his envoy forces, having Cat take on different missions. But still, every now and then, he just wanted to make sure that Naruto's okay. The child had gone through so much already. He wanted to make sure that he was safe in his own home, unaware that Naruto was the one that was committing all of these atrocities. But he will never know. At the moment, he sat in his office as he frowned. The scroll of sealing could not be found. Mizuki had taken off. From what Haruka had said, the envoys could not find him. They had found markings of a battle, but a swift and quick one. And they did not know where Mizuki was or the scroll. This was bad. Hiruzen was panicking at the moment. If other nations got their hand on that scroll, the secrets of Konoha would be... Damn it, this was so bad! Hiruzen thought to himself. There was so much things in that scroll that should not be seen by the eyes of other people. It was passed down from the Hokages coming down. Secrets from the first Hokage coming down. From the Uzumaki clan coming down. Things that the second Hokage had created that he forbid to be used by any other shinobi. That he placed away. And he was the one to have gone and let it get taken away. The man smashed his fist into the table, feeling so angry at the moment. He calmed himself down, knowing that getting mad would not solve anything. Mizuki was unable to be found, but the blood that they got back and tested, with the record in the hospital, it was Mizuki's. That meant he had faced someone before he had run off, but none of the Andals had came back wounded. Or perhaps he had just cut himself. They were trying to find him as best as they could. He calmed himself as he thought about Naruto. It was a good thing that he had the Kyuubi inside of him, otherwise he would have been dead. The fox was able to heal his stomach faster than normal humans heal. The thing was, Hiruzen was a bit skeptical on Naruto. The child was calm and nice, but most of the time Hiruzen saw this look in his eyes. A look that he used to see in his former student Orochimaru. And that scared him. Maybe he was just overthinking things. But Naruto did not have any friends. He didn't socialize with people that much. He just stayed by himself. Hiruzen didn't like that too much. He didn't like that Naruto was isolating himself. He tried to speak to him about that topic, but Naruto never seemed interested in making friends or anything like that. He was always just by himself, from the reports he got back from the Andals. At the moment though, as Naruto sat in his lab, 3 clones were around him as they were working on something else. As he was currently going over the scroll of sealing, Edo Tensei, he thought to himself, as he looked over one of the techniques to revive the dead. Say as you might, the second Hokage was a far better genius than Hashirama Sarutobi. Hashirama might have been stronger, and in the eyes of the populace, the god of the shinobis, but Tobirama was a man that was kept in the darkness. A man that used his talent to do things that Hashirama could not dream of doing. Yes, the Mokidan was powerful, but to bring the dead back to life, to even use the first Hokage as a host to fight for you, that jutsu was just beyond amazing. But he never seemed to have finished it completely. There were some problems, so he's gonna have to look into that. But that was not the only one. There was just so much more. It was then that he saw Uzumaki. Several dangerous sealing from the Uzumaki, including the Shikifugen. He smiled at that. So far he has just tested theories. When he found out that he had the Kyuubi inside of him, the possibility of using the chakra of the beast was just astonishing. But because of the seal, it was hard to take some of his chakra. Very hard. That had got his arms almost eviscerated when he had tried to do something that normal people would never attempt to do. Lucky enough, because of his findings in regeneration and the yin and yang research, he was able to heal any wounds that would almost seem fatal to a normal person, even to regrow a limb, and to make it better, stronger, more durable, more powerful. He smiled to himself. But the thing was, harnessing the Kyuubi chakra was hard, incredibly hard. So far he was able to do it, but by a small amount. After all, that is where his creations came from. As he looked towards a wall with a ceiling on it, he has also gotten good info in jutsu, as he also needed that. But now that he had the secrets behind the Shikifugen, that detail explained the ceiling trigram, this was much better for him to truly unlock the power that was inside of him, to use it as he see fit. So far, he has used a small amount that he got well. Well, there was some trials and error, not to mention, he almost died from almost poisoning himself of the chakra that was inside of him. Luckily, after several excruciating days, he was able to go back and fix that. But now, he had a detailed map of the seal. This This was gonna be truly amazing, he thought to himself. As he got to work, time skip. Hiruzen knew that because of what Naruto contained, the teachers never took it out of themselves to train him. They always found a way to neglect him. So he spoke to Kakashi about the circumstances. As Kakashi was up to seeing if he was, well, ready for the task of becoming a genin. But he made him a promise: if he failed, he will send them back to the academy. All of them, as Hiruzen agreed. So with that, Naruto had gotten his headband. He was currently sitting in the class. Shikamaru noticed. "I thought you failed," he said. "Well, I got a second chance," said Naruto. Shikamaru shrugged as he sat down. Having nothing more to say, he placed his head on the table. It was then that the two girls came bursting in, Ino and Sakura. He really despised the both of them. They were so annoying. But luckily, he could blot their annoyance out, as they came in and once again fought over Sasuke. Aruka then came in a moment later. As he saw Naruto and greeted him happily, Aruka felt bad. He always blamed Naruto for everything, but here he was, just a normal kid trying to get himself into a right position, and Mizuki almost killed him for something that wasn't even his fault. And Aruka felt terrible about that, as he greeted Naruto with a smile. Naruto nodded back, looking quite content, but he never really smiled that much. As everyone sat down after Aruka spoke, "Alright, congratulations to all of you that passed the test. I know that you're all eager to hear what team you're going to be placed on, so just sit down and relax," he said. As everyone focused towards him, he started to list off the children that weren't really a part of any clan. From Team 1 to Team 6, there was no one that special in there. As Naruto did not find any of those interesting, when he reached Team 7 though, he said Sasuke Uchiha. The girls in the class all perked up to hear if they will be on Sasuke's team. Sakura Haruno. Sakura jumped out of her seat and pumped both fists in the air, causing everyone to look at her. She then looked down rather embarrassed, but she was still smirking happily. As I was saying, as the girls closed their eyes praying for the last spot, the last member will be Naruto Uzumaki. Sakura paused, as she wondered who Naruto Uzumaki was. She then turned her head. Oh, that guy. She's never really talked to him before, nor did he talk to people that much. Well, it doesn't matter. She was on a team with Sasuke. Sasuke, on the other hand, turned his head as he glanced towards Naruto, who was looking through the window. Naruto was different. Sasuke had saw him once, and the way the people look at him, but yet he never paid him any attention. He just ignored everything around him. Not to mention, he didn't really talk to anyone. He was just always silent. Whenever he fought with one of the other kids, he always gave up rather easily, or he always lose. He was probably the dead last of the class, as he had no one to spar. In his entire years at the academy, he was really bad. Sasuke didn't like that though. Why did he have to end up on a team with him and the annoying fangirl? But it didn't matter. They would just be obstacles in his way for him to get his ultimate power to defeat Itachi. And no one will stop him, nothing, no obstacles. No one will get in his way. But Naruto was thinking differently. One of his subjects that he had his eyes on was on his team. And not to mention, a fangirl that he could use. A small smirk came on his face, but he had to quickly wipe it off. But when he heard that his sensei was going to be Kakashi Hatake, his fingers started to twitch. His whole body started to tremble a bit, as he felt a rush. The copy ninja, the man that was said to have mastered over 1,000 jutsus, well, copied them to be exact with the Sharingan. As Naruto smiled to himself, before he wiped it off rather quickly before anyone could notice. This was a rather good team, he thought to himself. But guys, let me end episode right here. If you want to see the next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends and social media platform. But I'm out for now, see you guys soon. Peace.